And I would say when I did Pirates, a lot of the time I would come in as California Surfer Boy, but by the time that hair went on, the beard, the teeth, it was all theirs. You know, I became hello, Poppy.
What's up, everybody? Ryan from JoBlo.com here, coming to you from the red carpet for VeNeill's Vampire Weekend, a convention and vampire ball celebrating not only everybody's favorite creatures of the night, but their love of makeup effects and practical horror. I'm here tonight to talk to people about their favorite bloodsuckers and their storied careers in horror and effects. Check it out. You have played one of the most memorable final girls in the Friday the 13th franchise. What do you think makes a great final girl?
You know, empathy. I think you have to be strong, have projecting a force so that people can relate to it in the situation that you're in. And I also think your scream. I think your scream in the movie should tell the whole story of what's going on.
And the horror fans are some of the most passionate people in the world, as we all know. What are some memorable fan encounters you've had over the years?
You know, it surprises me. I meet more and more people over the years, and it's gone on for, 30-something years? And most recently, I'm hearing from people who were bullied in school, or a lot of the LGBTQ community. They've withstood so many discriminations, and they said that they related to Pam Roberts, my character, and in the film, in the franchise, that we gave them some kind of support and strength, and they drew from that, and that surprised me, because to me it's just a horror movie, but to them it was, they found a companion, you know?
That's the beautiful things about horror, is it can connect with people at a level that you absolutely would not expect. It's so much more than blood and guts. Now, we're here at VeNeill's event, who obviously helped bring so many horror characters to life through her makeup. Do you have any favorite special effects moments in your career?
I didn't have a lot of special effects because I'm the survivor, so I didn't get killed. That I've seen a lot of the stuff that VeNeill did, the Edward Scissorhands and things like that. My favorite movie, I don't like horror movies, I've never liked horror, is The Exorcist. And you want to talk about great special effects. The Exorcist, to me, is still the scariest movie because of the suspense of things that you don't see. But the special effects were brilliant.
That messed me up when I was a kid, and I think that's why I'm doing what I do now.
And I've seen them, recently I saw it again, and it's still just as scary.
They got lightning in a bottle with that one.
It's brilliant cast. Brilliant writing, great direction. So it's everything. It's not just one thing.
So filming a Friday the 13th must have been a little intense. What is one behind-the-scenes moment that fans may not know about?
Well, you know, it was one of the hardest jobs I ever had. I loved it, but the conditions of being out in the rain, it was 30 degrees. I'm running for days in the rain shooting that chase scene, and there were rain machines. It wasn't real rain. And the rain machines, the rain is very heavy because it's coated, the drops are coated, and it's freezing. So between those conditions and then the ground got really wet from the rain machines and I had to run, I was constantly slipping in the mud, falling in my face. Fans don't know that they had to wipe the mud off my face and say, let's go again, you know. So I would try to get it done in one take so that I didn't have to get, you know.
And did you get it done in one take?
Once I started doing it more and more, I got it in one take because the brutality of having to do it again. Yeah, but it was fun. At the time, you think, I don't know if I'm going to live through this, but it was also very much fun.
And what was one of your biggest takeaways from your experience filming that film?
That's good. I got to work with some really great people. Dick Warlock was the stunt coordinator. He taught me how to work with a chainsaw because it was a real chainsaw. And just working with stunt people I had never done before and learning their craft because they wanted me to do my own stunt, that was fascinating to me. Because I'm a dancer and they choreograph the whole thing like a dance routine. And I didn't know that. So it was fascinating. It was many, many days to shoot this.
Classic.
Yeah. But that was a lot of rehearsal because the chainsaw was real, the blade was going, and I'm not a stunt person, so they were concerned that I was going to hurt the real stunt people because I had a scene where I had to throw it.
Yep.
So it all turned out well. But that was my greatest takeaway because I got to learn how to do something I had never done before.
And lastly, since this is a vampire-themed event, how do you think your character, Pam, would handle a vampire attack?
She'd take him down. I think she would take him down. She wouldn't even need a chainsaw. You know, this guy come at me at the neck, I'd get him.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
It was nice to meet you. And hello to all the fans, and thanks for the loyalty. And I'm glad they're still interested in Friday the 13th.
Yeah. We're all huge fans. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
All right, so for starters, horror fans really connect with the characters that you've played over the years. Do you have any favorite behind-the-scenes memories from filming Child's Play 2?
It was 35 years ago this year. Actually, 36 years ago when we shot it this year. So that's a long time ago. I don't have any... The best sort of anecdote I can tell about the experience, it was the most challenging thing for me. I'm not a trained actor. And so we're shooting... Any scenes we were shooting with Alex Vincent is in the scene too, and Chucky is too. Alex was underage and had child labor laws attached to his scheduling. And the puppet, Chucky, has 9 SAG actors that run him, so Chucky's more expensive to have on set than I am, and Alex had limited hours on set. So in scenes that we were all together, like all these factory scenes, if they would shoot out, they'd shoot the master, you know, and get everybody in frame, and when they came in for the close-ups on everybody, they'd shoot Alex out first, because he had to go to the tutor and go home. Then they would shoot the doll out, and then send the doll home, and I would do all of my work to tape on C-stands. I said, that red tape over there is Chucky, that blue tape over there is Alex, and I'm acting in a vacuum with nobody else on set with me. So, and the factory scene took like a month to shoot, so it's a lot of that.
Sounds like a real challenge.
It was.
So you've had such a varied career. You've played a ton of different roles across TV and horror. Is there a genre or character type that you have not explored yet that you would love to tackle?
I always played strong women. I think that's unavoidable for me. I've so rarely played somebody who's a victim. And I'm actually happy for that because stronger women are more fun to play, you know. As far as genres, no, I'm a fan of documentaries primarily. So you can't act in a documentary. So it's not so much a genre thing or a kind of role I want to play. It's really I'm an actor to make a living. It's my practical way of making a living. So any job is a good job, you know. And the best jobs are ones that last a really long time. Like you get Beverly Hills 90210 and you're on a network series for 10 years. That's the kind of job I want. I don't even care who I play. I want a job that's, you know, I would like a well-written, you know, show or movie with actors that I admire, and that's really the goal.
Now, horror fans are obviously a very passionate bunch, but I'm sure you're 90210 fans, and do you have any favorite fan interactions over the years?
The horror convention circuit, the horror community, is super, super loyal and sort of intriguingly wholesome. You have people walking around dressed like murderers, like dressed like Art the Clown, and people with tattooed faces, and it looks like to the uninitiated, it looks like a scary crowd. But in fact, it's not. It's like people say when I leave my table, like, I'll watch your table so no one takes anything. No one's gonna take anything. It's just like a really lovely community that everyone's really supportive. Everybody identifies as being on the island of misfit toys. Everybody feels like we're the weirdos, mister, you know? And so every fan interaction is great. It's always sort of disconcerting when somebody, usually women, but come cry, walk up and disperse into tears, you know? It's a big responsibility when someone is so sort of awestruck and nervous to meet you that they cry. It's really, really sweet, and I'm always giving them big hugs. But no single interaction stands out, but the general the overall experience is something I'm unbelievably grateful for. It's just a stroke of luck that my resume is such that this is open to me. I took the jobs that got offered to me. There's no strategy in being at my level of an actor. You just take the work they give you. I don't get to say I've said no to almost nothing. The things I've said no to either really, really bad or involve nudity, which I've never done. But if it pays and it's not embarrassing, I'm doing it, you know? And so it's just luck that I've had some credits, like to Chucky's part of my world. And Chucky's a huge movie star. Chucky is as big a movie star as Dracula at this point in time. And I can't believe how fast Art the Clown has sort of reached that echelon of just epically awesome villains, you know? And it couldn't happen to better people. Damien and Art and David and that whole crew, they're so sweet. They're really, if you haven't met them yet, try to, because they're really lovely. Yeah, they're great.
Now, with this being a VeNeill event, obviously we're here not only celebrating vampires, but a love of practical effects. Do you have any favorite special effects moments from your career, whether being a part of one or acting opposite of one?
Acting opposite Chucky. I mean, Chucky is a practical puppet. Everyone thinks I love when I read comments and people say, "Oh, the CGI was so bullshit," and there's no CGI. There's one scene in all of Chuckydom that was CGI. It's Chucky coming down the stairs in Curse of Chucky. There's no other CGI. So to watch a practical puppet come to life in front of you is magic, you know. And so when I was shooting this scene here, in between takes, the puppeteers were having him feel my leg and flirt with me and be really cute. And I was like, if you're going to flirt with me, I'm going to get a kiss. So I leaned in, and they had the doll lean in to get the kiss from me. And so when I went back and did Cult, I made them let me recreate it with the Cult head. So, yeah. So it's astonishing to see him, you know, come to life. It's great.
And lastly, because this is Vampire Weekend, would you rather face off against a killer doll or a vampire?
I think I've proven I can handle a killer doll, so I'd like to face off against a vampire. Kristen Bauer over there would be a fun choice to have you talked to Kristen Bauer yet from True Blood? She's fantastic. I would love to do something with her. I'd like to be killed by any of the classic villains. I'd like to be killed by Jason Voorhees or by Michael Myers or Art the Clown. A death by any of these icons would be fucking awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, lady, have you got to die, man? I gotta die, man. Look, I had drinking about a month.
Can you call security on this guy?
I die.
We're not in charge here.
You're fucking me all weekend.
Excuse me, I'm the best on the drill. I got a drool over here, Kip.
Oh, God.
Excuse me.
Ken Forey, everybody.
What do you think it is about this franchise that gives it its staying power for all these years?
I think it brings the child out in people. You know, we grow up and we learn to be responsible and well-behaved, and pirates just stay children their entire lives, do exactly what they want to do, have no responsibility. And I think that really appeals to us. I know when I was growing up, I'm older than most of the guys in the franchise. I grew up on Tyrone Power, Errol Flynn, pirate films, and then they died. And so to be part of the revival of pirate films has pleased me immensely.
And how did you prepare for your role in this film as kind of this larger-than-life franchise with all these crazy characters? What did you do to make yours stand out in such a way that you became beloved among the franchise?
Rum.
Do.
Simple as that. Just drank rum.
What do we got going on over here?
Well, I'm a bit older now, so I've reduced myself to rosé wine.
What was life like on set? Do you have any favorite memories from creating these films?
All of them, really. I always say to people, the 5 films that me and Johnny and Jeffrey and the 2 monkeys made together, it was like, however long the gaps were, it was always like going back to school after the summer holidays, you know. And, you know, really great bunch of people, a bunch of committed filmmakers who found themselves in an amazing franchise, and so we're all committed to it. And so I just love the atmosphere. The one thing I will say that changed during the course of the franchise was that when we started out, if you split a ship in half, you split a ship in half. And it became much more about CGI and green screen as things got, which took a little bit of the fun away. But, in the first 3 films, we were just at sea the whole time, being pirates, no acting required.
That sounds like it was such a blast, honestly.
Fantastic, no, fantastic.
And were there any challenges that fans may not be aware of in creating these films? Things that particularly stuck out as like, oh, this is a really tough moment that no one's going to know about in the final cut because...
it was Marty Klebba being sick in the bone cage. That was the biggest challenge to all of us, yeah. He would he will throw up at the drop of a hat. And so there was a lot of that. And, also in the first film, if I may move into the slightly disgusting area, we had 500 people on 2 ships in the first film and 2 porta potties. Bam, bam, bam.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, complete nightmare, but worth it in the end.
Well, I'll never watch these films the same way now, knowing that,
I've destroyed them for everybody, I feel, yeah.
kind of improved them in a way.
Well, it's something else to watch out for after 25 years, isn't it?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
With this being not only a vampire weekend, but a celebration of practical effects, do you have a favorite practical effects moment in your career, either acting opposite of one or one that you were on set for?
Well, it's very rare that we get involved in practical effects, but funny you should ask that because just this last year I did a movie with a friend of mine. He asked me as a favor to come in and do a few days to play this role, and I got my face ripped off by a chimpanzee, and I adored every moment of it. Yeah. I love the makeup stuff. I love seeing how you put it together and stuff like that. That's when CGI and these special effects come into their own, something like that.
What was the process of filming that like? Like, do you remember, was it layers of prosthetics?
Yeah, it was funny because they made a mask of my face, which they then ripped off, and they made a mask of my skull. So it was like a double layer thing. It was... And the worst thing about that is when you're having those masks made and you're being completely covered in latex, it's very claustrophobic. And it has to be on for about half an hour. But you just go, it's going to be worth it in the end. It's going to be fantastic, yes.
Not only throughout this franchise, but throughout your career, you've been given a lot of really fun dialogue. Do you have a favorite line or piece of dialogue that you've gotten to perform in your career that you really got to chew into?
I'll never forget thanking the writers of the second film when they gave me the line, "Slap me thrice and hand me to me mama, it's Jack." And that's my favorite line ever. It's a cracker.
Do fans often ask you to say that?
Yeah, I teach a lot nowadays, and my students often will say, "Can you just say slap me thrice and hand me to me mama, it's Jack?" And I go, "Yeah, sure, that'll be 10 quid.
Oh, that's good. Make them earn it.
We've got to make a bit of money out of it, it's fun. Yeah.
And lastly, with this being the vampire weekend, I wanted to ask which of your characters you think would fare best against a vampire?
Well, I think Mr. Gibbs, because in the film, Mr. Gibbs is a naval person who is terrified of pirates. So what he does is he becomes a pirate so he won't be scared of them anymore. And I think if he came up against vampires, he'd just go, "Sod it, I'll become a vampire, and then I won't be scared of them anymore." So I think he's got the best strategy.
Gotta love a yes and attitude, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, not to blindside you off the bat here, but I was just interviewing Kevin, and he mentioned that you had a bit of a tough time in the bone cage. I was wondering if you could tell us what the deal was with that.
Oh, well, the swinging was getting me sick because you see it on screen, we just go back and forth. That's not a big deal, swinging. Yeah. The part you don't realize is that while we're filming it, it starts to spin like a pendulum.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're going back and forth and spinning, unless you have great equilibrium, I don't. I started to get a little nauseated, and I begged them to lower the bone cage, and I was like, "I'm gonna vomit, guys." And Gore was like, no, just a couple more shots. And Orlando was like, "No, bring the ball down. He's gonna vomit. So as soon as they did, I jumped out. I ran for the blue screen and got behind it. Thought I was safe from everybody. Well, Gore had sent the on-set cameraman to follow me to watch me throw up 4 brownies and 3 Gatorades.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm terribly sorry for what you went through.
yeah. Well, all in the name of film, you know.
Yeah, the scene is beloved. I hope that softens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, it was good.
Now, what was your favorite part of playing a pirate, and are there any aspects that you relate to?
Well, nothing that I really relate to, but I mean, getting to work with somebody like Mr. Dapp and Jeffrey Rush, Kevin McNally. Well, I made Kevin who he is, but I just got to look from over there. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. No, I haven't been alive as long as Kevin has been in the business. So, but no, I mean, we had a great time, great locations, and the movies are standalone. No matter which one you watch, they're all great.
And how did you prepare for your role for this character that would become so iconic in this franchise?
Man, that's just Marty. They just let me be me, grumpy little, just a grumpy little guy with a little bit of an English accent or Cajun accent, whatever. I flip-flopped a couple times, but it's hard when you're listening to some guys that are speaking, Creole, and some guy who's speaking, South English, that whatever. So it was a little hard, but I just ended up just being Marty, and that was it.
And so with this being a VeNeill event, we're not only celebrating vampires, but we're celebrating...
Neil.
Oh no, are we in the wrong place? We gotta get out of here.
I thought this was for Rick Baker. Oh, shit. I love you, V. V's the best.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite practical effects moment in your career, whether acting opposite of one or being on set for one?
But I mean, I've done some pretty cool makeup stuff, and I did do one thing in Men in Black 2 where I had 3 puppeteers to operate just the head. That one that did the mouth, one that did the antlers, and one that did the eyes, because I was a big human. I was a slug, an alien slug. So wearing something like that, people don't understand it. Like, they think it's all CGI. It's like,
Right.
No, there are a lot of things we do with special effect makeup and prosthetics and puppeteering, and that was an early part of my career. So I love doing that kind of stuff, because when you're behind the mask, you can just really do anything. You don't have to worry about being embarrassed of something you did. So I love that.
And kind of a part 2 to that, with this being Vampire Weekend, which of your characters you think would fare best against a vampire?
Probably my character, Herman in The Electric State, that just came out this weekend on Netflix. Herman's a pretty badass. Or Grumpy. Grumpy probably wouldn't take no shit from many vampires. So, yeah.
Throughout your career, do you have a favorite effects moment that you either were a part of or acted opposite?
Well, I mean, I think anytime they trust you enough to wear the makeup in this game is the win. And so many of the roles I did, I mean, especially the pirates, the Trek stuff I did. I mean, sometimes it's so integral to like even being able to pull off a character, and it's one of the great things I'm really enjoying about this event too. Because I always say, the thing about the film biz and TV, it's a team sport. And, to honor the kind of behind the scenes that really bring these characters to life, you can't do it without great wardrobe, great props, great makeup. So, the Ben Franklin on crack look that I got to portray as Pintel makes it. It's everything, and then the dance, the teamwork between like me working with my hairstylist, Lucia Mace, and deciding we're going to go with the wet look because it can be tied up and it's easier when you're cruising around on boats than having, you figure practical ways to make your life better, Some makeups you just got to sit there and take it though, the fully immersed, and then it's the challenge of can you project through the mask?
And when you're going through this process, I know a lot of actors have different things they do. They either zen out or they put on some music. Is there something you do to get yourself in the headspace to be buried under these layers?
You definitely have to prepare. You have to arm yourself with patience. You got to chill breathing. I mean, hopefully you're working with people you dig. I've been lucky enough to have that happen over my career, whether it's working with Joel Harlow with V or Mike Smithson, legendary cats in the biz that'll put on good tunes, take good care of you. But I mean, it's your job when, to practice gratitude in this industry. When you're doing something that that a lot of people want, but not everyone gets to do, when you can find that moment to be thankful, even when you're about to be buried under like so much chemical and so much pain of a Ferengi makeup, find the joy in it. Part of getting the job is having the patience to sit there and take it. Yeah. So I would say, the most important thing is good communication. A lot of the makeups you can't sometimes zone out. You might have to be able to activate it, say a stretch and stipple on a pirate makeup. Some of the Trekkie ones, you're maybe a little bit able to zone out for an hour or two when they're just noodling around on your face. But I think it helps to kind of pay attention. I use it as time to prepare for the work, see myself become the character, the transformation, then when I hit up, then again, doing the dance of the team sport with my costume department. And then you become. And I would say when I did Pirates, a lot of the time I would come in as California surfer boy. But by the time that hair went on, the beard, the teeth, it was all theirs. I became, hello, Poppy. It helps you find it.
And kind of touching on the Pirates of it all, this has been a beloved series for so many for so long. What do you feel gives it its staying power that has kept it in pop culture for this long?
Man, great writing, great timing, and that it really represents the golden age of filmmaking. An impresario like Jerry Bruckheimer, building an actual black pearl. We're in the middle of the ocean, baby. You got to take 10 speedboats to get to work, There was no, and then when we're on the stage in the third one, with the big hurricane maelstrom sequence, there were 1,000 fans and 1,000,000 lights, and we were in a frickin' hurricane. So no acting required. And I also think too that, what Johnny delivered was probably, this goes up there with like a Chaplin-esque level of epic character, a transformative character that basically was 3 steps ahead of the other guys, invoking Buster Keaton, Pepe Le Pew, and Keith Richards in one take, the artistry of becoming the #1 movie star in the world like that, the blossoming of Kira and Orlando's careers. I mean, watching Jeff Rush do his kind of Oscar-winning level of take after take when the monkey's screwing it up. Let's get this giant 2-page monologue, and the monkey there were 2 monkeys, one a stunt monkey, one an acting monkey. So this was an acting job by the stunt monkey, and he couldn't get it right. And it was like take 30, take 40 of this Jeffrey monologue, never knowing when the monkey's going to get it right. And so, you know what I mean? You have to lock in just in case the monkey nails it. So I do think that all that, and then you have it always comes down to the script. The shows that resonate in my career, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Seinfeld, the Once Upon a Time, hallmarks are the writing that starts it. The play is the thing in the business. And when you're starting from that, that's the most exciting thing. It's when one of the good ones resonates. It's a hell of a ride, baby.
And so throughout your career, obviously everyone knows the Hello Poppet of it all, but you've been given a ton of really good dialogue to chew into. Do you have a favorite line that you've gotten to perform that you really just got to dig into as an actor?
Dude, I go for it. I play that high energy guy. I get hired because I can scream it. So they all have it. I find a way to weave it in, I mean, obviously for Pirates, there's no really beating the Hello Poppet. They made it a catchphrase. It was in a McDonald's commercial, whatever. It went next level, And I never get tired of saying it because I swear that was the days of the fax machine. We used to get our auditions on the fax. And the first time I read it, it was Hello Poppy. It was like Keira Knightley in a closet. I'm a bloodthirsty pirate. I know how to say that. I also love getting to yell at Kramer. There's a scene I got to play in Seinfeld where I'm like, Jerry, I call Jerry a phony. I get busted on it because they can't keep it in the vault, right? And he's like, you called me a phony? But I was like, I meant it as a cool thing, And then I go it's the turn. So the turn from like, oh, Jerry, I meant it as a compliment, right? And then I turn to Kramer, why'd you tell him? You know? And then that, to find the comedy is that. And then, you know, Grumpy gets to yell the town crier. It comes running into a scene. Terrible news! You're just screaming it, you know? So you find that's what I'm bringing a little bit of me. I mean, I'm excited to be doing this gig. It's not meant to be torture to be an actor, you know? It's the big word for me is always the three key things: show up on time, know your dialogue, and have an idea. Be willing to play. That's it, baby. Keep it simple and then let it rip. I always act for the crew. They're the hardest working guys on any film set, all the departments behind the camera. You want them to get compliments when they go on the road wearing the Pirates shirt, the Once hat, the Seinfeld hoodie, right? You're doing it for them, you know? The fans are the boss. That's Johnny's line. From when we used to do those red carpets for Pirates at Disneyland, it was a 4.5-hour red carpet. And I was like, Johnny, how do you do it? My first time I was like, he goes, because the fans are the boss, buddy. I'm like, boom, never forgot it. I mean, to learn to get the perspective that you belong, especially when you want it really bad. I was lucky enough to have that happen to me on Pirates where I felt like, okay, I'd earned this one. Yeah, they couldn't find Short, Bald, and Crazy in London. They came here, you know, that was the deal. They auditioned hundreds to find, and Gore just wouldn't settle. And I remember how I got that part, got a call back, I'm in the room, and it's the yellow poppet scene, but it's not the yellow poppet line. It's, she goes, parlay, and Pintel goes, what? Like a dumb expression of how the hell could you know about parlay? You know nothing about being a pirate. But I have to honor it. And to be able to play that all in the one look, he goes, that's it.
Before I ask my last question for this, to turn off the professional mode for a second and put on the fan mode, I have a tall, skinny friend. We were you guys for Halloween. And yeah. Just to put on the fan mode for a sec. Like back in high school, I was you, man.
And we were R2-D2 and C-3PO. We were Shakespearean clowns. That's the brilliance of what we got to do. You're telling a story and it's moving fast, so you need someone to catch up the audience with exposition. That's how Shakespeare created this concept, you know, of the kind of clowns that would be, oh, they're way smarter. Ted Elliott, one of the writers on Pirates, he said, you know, a character can know anything as long as it's funny, right? So that's how you'll have a guy that doesn't have a lot of knowledge, but suddenly he knows everything about every Supreme Court justice. And that opens up that level in writing in the same way that we could argue about ancient Scandinavian pronunciations of Kraken. How the hell could we know that? You know? But if you allow the character to savant into that one area, to the audience, it's like a tweet button. And so that's what those characters did. And, you know, we went back and said, who are the other great double acts, R2-D2 in our lives, and C-3PO, basically Shakespearean clowns in that world. Like, we made up the relationship that I was his uncle as our backstory. You know, that was the choice that we made. So his mom is my sister, and he was never going to make it in. And then I dragged him to sea, and then eventually we went into Pirates when we first got raided by Barbossa or Sparrow or whoever, you know, rammed into our merchant ship and gave us the chance, as they did.
And lastly, for this section, since we're here for Vampire Weekend, throughout all your characters throughout the years, which one do you think would stand the best chance against a vampire?
God, good question. I'd say they're all toast, to be honest. Because I think vampires are badass, and I'm trying to think. I never really carried around any steaks, and never a lot of garlic. So I was basically, I'm toast. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm tested. Maybe the smoker in Waterworld, maybe someone like that, you know, go obscure. I don't know. But for sure, like, no way Grumpy survives, because the evil queen would Vader him all the time. Lana Parrilla Vadered me. Pintel and Rigetti, no, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. Because that's the thing. I play these like gruff exterior, soft interior guys, and that's kind of like if I said what is my type become, over the last 40 years. Yeah, the kind of crusty guy that really is pretty damn sweet, at the end of the day. For sure, vampire meat, bro.
Sorry to hear it, man.
I know.
So that'll do it for me from VeNeill's Vampire Weekend. From JoBlo.com, I am Ryan Coltrera. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.